I'm going to create a new project for this motion tracking project. And you know what? We've already got the project, don't we? Let's open up the logo. Let's go to File, Open, Project. And it was in the March 25 folder, the logo summoners, logo animate, logo test folder, logo test. There we are. Must be converted. That's fine. Okay, good. So now we have the logo with all the beautiful animation that we did last time. Where's my standard? Where's my controller? Preview. Thank you. Good. So I've got that as its own composition. It's in the folder called, what folder are we open in right now? Composition 1, version 02. So this guy right here has all of these elements. We could comp all that into its own element and then just have all of that into the final logo composition. So if we just right click and pre-comp and just call this final logo. So that way we have just a composition called final logo, and it should have all the elements that we need. In the meantime, let's create a new composition. We'll do this one 30 seconds long. What is the original speed of that video we just looked at? So if we look at the logo summoners, not there, but over here, logo summoners, and then the summoners, if we right click and just get info, or properties, on Mac it's get info, on PC it's properties. We see that the details of this is that it is recorded at 1920 by 1080. Good, I was worried I recorded it by 4K at accident. And this frame rate is 30. So I want to stay at the natural frame rate of the video to do this camera solve. It'll work a little bit better for that purpose. That means the other videos were doing that too. So let's just go ahead and do a test, because that video is longer. Let's do a test with one of these guys here. So if I open one of these, open with, but let's just bring all of these guys into After Effects. I said bring all of these guys into After Effects. You won't bring them in? Oh, because that's dialog window is open. All right, let's go there. There we go. So the same thing will happen here when we bring these in. It'll tell us it's 1920 by 1080. It's not quite 30 frames per second. It's 29.9999 frames per second, which is kind of weird because it's video, but what it means is it's drop frame. That one's 30 frames per second. If we take that video and we drop it into this timeline, it's only this long, so we'll just move our work area over here. Hold down shift and it'll snap into place. Should be able to play that in real time because it's only 1920 by 1080. So this is what will fill up your hard drive. I'm going to save this project. And it needs to be, it's converted because it's a different version of After Effects. We'll call this the Summoners, version 01. Now, here is how to do a camera solve. It's tricky. Watch close. I'm going to right click on the layer. I'm going to go to Camera. Where is it? Create. Tracking and Stabilize. And I'm going to go to Track Camera. Okay? I didn't have to go to the other parts. I forgot where it was. Track and Stabilize, Track Camera. Now we sit and we wait. It's processing the video. Depending on the length of the video and how long it is, it can take a few minutes. And one reason I'm doing it on my PC instead of this PC is this is a time-consuming thing. So if you're on a slower PC, it takes longer. So now it's done, which is good. It didn't take very long. And if I scrub through it here, you'll see all those colorful little dots right there. Not that. Yeah. And those are the tracking points. And so that scene had a lot of brights and darks at different depths. So I knew it would be a good motion tracking scene. So what that means is after that's happened, after it's done, we have this effect up here, 3D camera tracker. We can just create a camera when we do this. So we'll just create a camera. And so now a camera is created, and you see it right here, 3D camera tracker. And so now there's a 3D camera in this scene. Have I shown this before? Okay, good. Right. I didn't know if I was repeating myself. I'm going to change my views from 1 view to 2 views down here on the right. I'm going to change one of these views from being what the camera sees to being top. So this one will change it from active camera to the top view. And so now we see we're looking down on the scene, and this is confusing if you come from other 3D programs. Even though you see a black rectangle right here, we're looking down. What the black rectangle is, it shouldn't be there. It's just there to confuse you. It doesn't make any sense. But if I scrub back and forth here, you'll see the camera moving, which is moving in the way that I was moving the camera when I recorded that. So it figured out how I was moving my camera and is matching that, which means if I take other elements and put them in this view, they'll be in that 3D space. All right, so I'm going to switch back. I'll just keep this view right here. Let's go ahead and just create in this view right here a red box, so you'll see what I mean. And even though I'm drawing it in this view, notice how it makes it look here, because it's kind of goofy, but also because it's a two-dimensional layer. As long as the layer is two-dimensional, then it only pays attention to where it sits in this hierarchy right here. So it's like Photoshop. But if I change this to a 3D shape, and that's this little tiny button over here under the cube, then its position will change. And now you can see it, we're only seeing the top of it in this view. And if I use the move tools here, I can move it further away from the camera and closer to the camera. But more importantly, as I scrub through, it should be locked to the camera's view, and it's not. It shouldn't be locked to the camera's view. We should see it in 3D. This one should be the active camera. Where are you? Active camera. There we go. So now we see it moving like it's locked to the scene. So that in and of itself is all it takes to do a camera solve. You right click on a layer, you let it solve how the camera moved, then you add 3D objects into that scene. So if that's the case, then I can just delete this layer. I can take over my project window the final logo, which is right here, and I can just drop it into the scene. And the logo comes up and does that, but it's not moving with the camera. So in order to make that happen, I have to make it 3D. Then I need to move it a little further back into space. Notice that logo is a little shorter, but I should be able, no, I can't drag it. So I can come here and just make it, seems to come up out of nowhere in this scene here. So it moves forward. Now the way it moves depends on how far it is from the camera. So if it were closer to the camera, if I move it closer to the camera, then it's going to move faster. And in fact, we get really close to it to the point where it will walk through it. So we want to just move it further back here, and then we'll just move it here. And then you can see how that's working. Then we should have like a little head pop out of the tower. So that's kind of cool, right? And that's not too hard to do, right? So you can see what I want to do with the summoners. Right? What's that? You see the vision now? You didn't know what I was doing before, did you? Okay, all right. So let's create a new composition. And using these settings, but we'll make the timeline 30 frames per second. If you use 29.97, that's okay too. But if you see any jitteriness in the movement, then there's a problem. One of the things that I see with students when they're doing this that makes it look like poo is that there's a frame speed mismatch. Most of you will always leave your camera settings at 30 frames per second, but on my camera, I can change the frame rate to 24, to 23, to 25, and there's a wonderful app by Blackmagic that you can download for iOS and for Android called the Blackmagic Camera, and it lets you control everything on your camera, on your phone camera, like exposure, frame rate, ISO, and it's a really nice feature, especially if you've got a nice camera. for locking things down and for doing these kind of visual effects tricks. And so let's drag in the summoners. And so here's the whole video, and they're doing their trick, but I need my composition to be a little bit longer. So what is this tour event today? I didn't know about it. Oh my goodness. It's cool, but like, if they had told me, I would have like wore more than my Blender shirt, but I knew it was going to be hot today, so I just wore a t-shirt because you know how hot this building gets. All right, so I just changed the composition length, but maybe my video is a little bit longer than that. So composition settings, let's try, how long is that, the summoners? It says it's 46 seconds long, so that's how long we need to be for this video. Composition settings, let's go back to 46. Go a little bit longer, like 49. And then we zoom out, we see the length of it. So doing a really long motion track like this, because the camera's not moving too crazily, it should be successful. But it will take a little while to do the process. And while it's doing this, I'm just going to save it before I process, right click, track and stabilize, track camera. While it's processing that, it will fill up my hard drive. So if you're on like a little MacBook Air with 256 gigabyte hard drive and Adobe's already taking up 90%, it won't work. So that's why you'll have more success if you use these PCs. They have terabyte hard drives. The processing will be a little bit slower, but if you've got if you're short on hard drive space, just pay attention because it can take a lot of space. It fills up the cache. And that being said, if you go to preferences and then media and cache, you can work on that even while it's processing this in the background. And so you can see here, my machine says it's allowed to use up 95 gigabytes of my C drive. But depending on the speed and depending on which machine, you can point this to your SSD, which is what I do on my other machine. I have like a 10 terabyte drive on my big PC at home, and I just dump all my After Effects stuff in there. Now, if you use DaVinci Resolve, it can do all this too, but I haven't explored that to do this. So you don't have to use After Effects or anything to do this. And Blender will do this too, but Blender's motion tracking tools make people cry. And so I don't necessarily recommend it. My flying worm project that I'm working on right now, there's one scene where they want a motion tracking, where they want a comp of the worm in live footage, and they didn't give me anything to track. It's a blurry footage, it's dark, so that means I can't actually track it. I'll just have to manually move the camera by hand to match move it, which is kind of a pain. And I didn't tell them I would do it, so I might say no. Okay, so like with projects like that, the scope creep goes way beyond what it should be. All right, so it's already solving the camera. You can do it. Hopefully it doesn't fail, or this whole thing will go through. And if you've gotten a motion track that it can't figure out, it'll just say failed. It can't do it. You can try to change a few settings, but some shots it simply won't do, and you'll have to go out and get another shot. But motion tracking here is 2 assignments down. I'm just adding this to my logo animation because it's fun, and I thought you guys would enjoy getting some sunlight, and that's why I'm adding this to the project. You are welcome. Whoa! I hit the thing on my chair by accident, and I sank.
Sliding on your chair.
Yeah. It should be a good advertisement, and I mean, it should be an advertisement as opposed to like normal college advertisements, right? What do you think of my Upton Hall spaceship?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking how I would be really impressed and wondering how they did that. And I would be like, did they work on that at that school? Because if so,
Professor Shasti says it looks too Blade Runner-ish, so I put a bright blue sky behind it to try to make it more cheery.
I mean, me, Christine, and who was it? And Delmar, I would agree with you on your yeah.
So it's still processing. Like I said, this process can take a little while. And you can still use your computer and you can do other things, but there's not much I can do while it's doing this. I guess I can go ahead and bring in the final logo composition right here. Just drop that in. And wherever it comes up, I guess I had an idea of it coming out of the ground, but we can just have it emerge from this other part right here. So everybody's getting excited. And also I need it to be a little bit longer. So let's just step into the final logo composition. And right now it's only 5 seconds long. So we can go to composition settings and just make this one much longer. Let's make it like 30 seconds long. Zoom out. And then all these elements that are just hanging on there, we can just drag to the end of the composition. And is it locked? No. So we can grab that over. Why isn't that coming any further? Oh, because those are those are compositions in and of themselves. So I need to go to this one, make this one longer. Oh, what a tangled web. Composition settings. Let's make this one 30. And then everything will need to be dragged down. Oh, that's a video file. That's as far as that one's going to go. That's the wrong one anyway. Okay, comp 2. Now we can make this guy longer. But it goes off the screen, so we still need it to be longer. There we go. Name your compositions. Summoners comp. So is it done processing? Looks like it might be. Let's go to effects. We can now create a camera. Let's turn off this logo for a second. So we should see the tracking points on there. And it creates and adds tracking points as needed throughout. So it looks like it was struggling to find some here. And it put tracking points on Aiden and Haley and Ed. So that might throw off the tracking a little bit, but hopefully it figures it out. If you only have skies and things like that, it might struggle. And so to do a test, we could just turn on this logo and make it 3D to see where it put it. If it disappears, don't panic. It just might mean it put it somewhere unexpected. If I change my views to 2 views, and then I select where the logo is, it's right there. So we might just need to move it over a little bit. See? Then over here we can move it up. Okay, good. So we can say, all right. All right, ready? Begin the summoning process. Switch back to one view. And if your computer's acting laggy, change your resolution from full to half, third, or a quarter. If you get any sort of lag in your animation.
Good. All right, it's arriving. Stand up and bring it into free tuition. Free tuition. Good.
Okay. So what we need is it to go off into the sky after it gets to that point.
Good. All right.
And if
Well done. Now it's going up into the...
you can see it jumping around a little bit, and that's just an imperfection in the motion track. And you don't have you have some control in After Effects, but not a lot.
Tuition.
Right there.
Good. All right.
One thing I could do is select those individual tracking points on Haley and that it put on people. I could delete those tracking points and then resolve the camera. And then it might prevent any sort of jittery jumping like that. It might help. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I might just try to find a way to hide it. So let's zoom out. So let's just move that about right there. And maybe I might do something like to make it seem like it's like more intense or something. Let's do some special effects. Let's make on the summoners. Let's make this video less boring. So let's come over to effects. I'm going to look for Lumetri color effects, and these are basically lookup tables that let you have different cinematic looks for your video. And so I'm just going to drop that onto that channel there. And then under creative, we can just choose a look. And so you have all these different looks. And so like a Kodak camera, some of them are subtle, some of them are really intense. Ultra soft. And then you can change things too. If it'll let me scroll down. Come on, scroll down. Some of them are like, matrix green, like the Matrix. There we go. And so now we get like a more intense, a more dramatic sort of scene. And we might want to add that same effect to the logo, but no, the logo is going to glow and have its own light. And what we could do is like when the logo starts to summon, we could make this this effect more intense. So we could basically like fade it in or something like that. And so under the intensity, we'll have it normal. And then as the logo starts to form, then the skies will get dark and the scene becomes more dramatic. Ooh, there we go. So that way we, ooh, and so they're forming the logo, and then to that we can add like let's add like a goofy special effect or something. Let's go. Let's save it before we go any further. Let's go to layer. Let's go to new. Solid. Let's just add a whole bunch of gray into the scene. Yes, perfect. That's not really what, but I'm just. Let's make this also a 3D object. Let's move it further backwards. Switch to 2 views. And so I've got the dark solid gray, and I'll move it over here, further back. I needed to completely obliterate the scene. And then to that effect, don't use this effect very often, but it's called for today because it's a beautiful day. We're going to go and put a good old-fashioned lens flare on there. Lens flare. And we'll just drop that on that dark gray layer, so that way we have that. Now we need to change the transfer mode on this. So the transfer mode will be switched to add. So that way we get this glare on this view here that we can just change. Now this might not have the effect that we're trying to go for because the lens flare, you sort of see it, it's like disappearing. So we'll have to have it fade out after it comes in. You can change the type of lens flare. We have here. There we go. So as the sky gets dark, we'll add this effect to it. So the flare brightness will change to 0. Good. And let's set a keyframe for that. And then let's have it fade in when the logo starts, like full brightness will be about right here, like that. It's signaling. And then we'll have it fade back out. There we go. So that way, as it starts to manifest, yeah. But notice how it's right there. So we're going to have to fade out that trick right there. So let's go over to transform, set a keyframe for the opacity, and then fade it out completely here. So let's see what's going on.
Free tuition. Free tuition.
So a little bit is right there, so we need to scale it up. If you wanted to, you could play around with particle systems.
Free tuition. Free tuition. Good. All right. Well done. Now it's going up into the sky. It's going up into the sky.
So here we'll animate it flying upwards. We can put that in front too, but it won't really change the order of it because it's all in 3D. So I think that should just all be the same. Okay. So let's animate the logo moving up. So let's set a keyframe for its position right here. And then it'll just be moving upwards, and then everybody goes away. So let's see here. It's a good idea, yeah.
I'm thinking of like, there's like a light behind it that like fades away.
Something like that. Yeah. Let's just add a simple glow effect to it for now. So that way, as it's appearing, it's like going to be so majestic and glowing. But let's change the radius so we can still see the logo, glow intensity. Let's see here. It helps to make the sound. So let's take the glow intensity here. Let's have it like totally blasted out so that like people will think that there's really something magical happening and it's just a logo. All right, so at the end, so just make that like that. Good. Then let's set a nice easing on this. Keyframe, assistant ease. So we'll just be super lazy about it there. I think I'll have that happen a little bit beforehand.
Good. All right. Well done. Now it's going up into the sky. It's going up into the sky. Yes. Yes.
All right. Now, as it's faded away, we'll make this color effect just go back to normal light. So let's just take that intensity here that's at 200%. I need another keyframe for it. So let's scroll down to the summoners, effects, Lumetri color. Where is it? Under basic, creative, intensity. There we go. So then as it's fading away, the light just becomes normal again. So then what we need to do is add like a cool sound effect to it or something as it's going.
Okay, but what if it's a slide whistle though?
A slide whistle? Yeah, I like it. It's really good. Don't you think?
Free
Record you what? Free tuition. I know free tuition is important, but I would really like it if we all were chanting better computers, better computers. 2 monitors.
Good. All right. Well done. Now it's going up into the sky. It's going up into the sky. Yes.
You'd be a good director.
Yes.
Oh, that's
All right. All right. Now it's done. The work is done. Leave.
All right. Save. Now, it bugs me that it's got that little bit of a jitter, but this is just a draft, so I'll fix that later. Uh-oh. What's that? It's the lens flare layer. So I need to fade that in when it gets full screen here. So we'll just fade that in right there, about right there. So, and there's other things we could add to it. Particle effects, we could add a whole bunch of stuff, but I want you guys to work. So I'm just going to set another opacity keyframe for this guy. So it's fading in there, but the opacity is still 0. So here the opacity should be 0. There we go. So that way the lens flare goes, there we are. But maybe the lens flare could be more intense here. I don't think the lens flare is very intense. So let's go to the effects, lens flare, brightness. Here is 0. So we need the, oh, I see, because it's like this. All right, we'll make it like that. There we go. Let's have that intensity last a little bit longer. I guess it's fading out a little bit. It's good enough. What's the opacity here? It's 0. I see. We need that to be that. It needs to be faded out here as well. So only here is at 100%. Why is that not animated? Let's go 100% here. Woo! And here is 0. There we go. Let's turn down that opacity here. There we are. And you can explore different types of lens types here if you need to. I don't know. It's up to you. All right, there we go. Maybe turn on motion blur, just for fun. So for the logo, motion blur is activated for the whole timeline. All right, let's just do a quick preview.
All right, ready? Begin the summoning process. Good. All right, it's arriving. Stand up and bring it into full tuition. Free tuition. Free tuition. Free tuition. Good. All right. Well done. Now it's going up into the sky. It's going up into the sky. Yes. Yes. All right. All right, now it's done. The work is done. Leave.
All right, let's make a movie, add to media encoder, or just add to render queue. So I got some other stuff in here. Let's give it a destination. The logo summoners. Save. Go.
What's the difference between render queue and media encoder?
The render queue is After Effects' own output. So here you can export H.264s, you can export PNG sequences, EXR sequences, but it's right here in After Effects. Media Encoder is Adobe's media encoder where you can convert video files that already exist to other media, or you can just set up a queue and render a whole bunch of stuff from Premiere, After Effects, whatever you're doing. It could all be sent to the media encoder and render it all in one go. So it does the same thing, but media encoder has more presets to work with. As we know, in these computers, for whatever reason, media encoder and H.264 has not been behaving properly. All right, here it is full screen.
All right, ready? Begin the summoning process. Good. All right, it's arriving. Stand up and bring it into free tuition. Free tuition. Good. All
Don't
right.
like that jump.
Well done. Now it's going up into the sky. It's going up into the sky. Yes. Yes. All right. All right, now it's done. The work is done. Leave.
So if we want, we can go back over it and have everybody just chant and like sing as it's coming into existence, and then we can add some dramatic music and some sounds. Somebody said have some smoke coming off of it as it's rising into the sky, and then I think maybe it would be funny if after they're walking away we see it flying off in the distance. That might be kind of cool. Way in the background, like it's on a mission or something. So all that's a possibility. What have we learned? A little bit about motion tracking. Yeah, it's more of a camera solve than a motion track.
How to implement 3D
In After Effects. Yep. So simple 2D, 3D effects. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So if we wanted to, we could go so far as added tracking points to like hands and stuff. And we can have particle systems coming out of the hands. We can have all this kind of fun stuff. All of it takes time and is time consuming, but it's all perfectly capable of doing stuff like that in there. While I'm at it, while I'm here, let's do a quick, I'm going to try to get you guys onto DaVinci a little bit because it's kind of fun. And you can download this and I can put it on these computers for you. You have to, it's not open source, but it is free. And so like this is the worm project I've been working on. And it's just a video editor in one go, because if you're in edit mode, it's just straight up video, but it's also got its own media encoder and everything built right into it. And I haven't launched it that much on this computer, so I don't know if it's actually going to do properly. But yeah, so here's this. But let me come over here and just say, all right, let's go. I need to give you something that's going to make you think, oh, I got to try this. So let me just bring in that clip that I just made, the summoners comp. All right, and then let me go back to edit and let me make a new timeline. And the frame rate might not be what I want. So let's change the frame rate to make sure it's 30. Create. And then let's take the summoners in here. And so here's that video we just made.
All right, ready? Begin the summoning process.
Let's move this guy over. Your zoom in and out and everything is right here.
Good. All right.
What I like about it is you have all these amazing color correction tools that you have inside of here, and then a fusion are all these like wonderful effects that you can add to it. And I don't have everything in here, but if we open up the effects panel, we have all of these just tons of effects that you don't have in other software, which is really fun. And again, this software is free. But what I was just going to quickly show you is like a lot of stuff that you have to do some tricks to get to. Like here's rays. We'll just take in rays, and here's a node system that you guys might be familiar with from other certain programs, which I won't mention here. But look, I can then take these rays and show the different sort of size of it here. And as I scrub through here, you see what I'm trying to get to. Let's move this window over. And so I can take this and mix in the blend. So that way I can set keyframes for that. So as that logo is starting to come in, I'll set a keyframe here and then move this down. And so then we'll make this go a lot brighter. See, there we are. And have this glowy effect. I'm like a little kid, and I'll add the sound effects to it. There we are. So it fades in, it does that kind of effect, and then we'll fade that back out and set another keyframe right there. But you have a lot of other effects. If you want TV, for whatever reason, you can add TV to it. I don't know what that's going to do, actually. That's what it does. So I don't know if that's useful or not. But I saw some other stuff that people might enjoy. Sticky noise, dark sky, day sky, plasma. Here's your text tools, leader tape. But it's a quick way to get some really quick effects, as well as fantastic color correcting, burning away, drop shadow, edge, where is it? Scan lines, watercolor, stop motion, JPEG damage, film emulation, camera shake. I like that. Let's add camera shake. So that way I'll have more shaking in the scene if that might not work in the way I'm thinking it's going to work. There we are.
Okay, stand up and bring it into full tuition.
There we go.
Tuition. Full free tuition.
So what might be really cool is as it's starting to emerge, I have the camera shake more. So if you have the node set here, you can select it here. And so we'll just change the scale to 0 here and set a keyframe. And then about right here, we'll set that back down to 0. Set another keyframe here, but here when it's getting really intense, we'll have the camera shake a lot. So that way,
free tuition. Free tuition. Good.
and that
All right.
almost covers up the
Well
motion
done.
tracking
Now it's
mistake
going
I
up
had
into the
before.
sky.
Maybe some film damage too. Yeah, let's go all the way. Yeah, let's make it really intense. Oh no.
And full tuition. Free tuition.
The first ever bubble season.
Free tuition. Free tuition.
That might be too much. Optical flow, repair frame, smooth motion. There's some others in here, and again, this is all for you to take for your own evil purposes. There's the camera tracker, so the same tools that we had before. But I was looking for something specifically. Yeah. Lens to storage. Let's go put that in. What's that? Yes, this has. So yes, you have all those options here, and you can import OpenFX plugins, and it's completely compatible with all that. But what DaVinci has that After Effects doesn't is has full 3D capabilities. So you can bring in 3D objects, you can composite them all together, and it's really, really powerful, and it's also a really good video editor. So let's get rid of the film damage. And so I've been increasingly impressed with it for everything that I'm doing. And a plane tracker. But anyway, after I'm happy with whatever effect I'm adding to it, I think the camera shake effect, I want it to be bigger. Let's go much bigger here. Speed scale. Notice it can't play it in real time anymore. I am on a laptop.
Tuition. Yes.
Okay. So, if I'm ready to send this out from the editor or whatever, I go to the Deliver tab. And then I just say, what kind of file do I want? I'm going to call it free tuition. And where am I going to put it? I'll put it in, oh my God, let's put it in, the logo centimeters, free tuition. I don't want it to be like this MOV file. I want it to be a H.264 master, so I'll choose that. We'll call it free tuition. It's going to be let's make it a MP4 instead of a QuickTime. H.264, and I want it to be encoding profile. Let's see here. Quality will be best. So I add it to the render queue, just like a queue in the media encoder. And then with that selected and its destination is known, what type of file it is, I hit save and then I hit render. And so that way you can add some other elements to it. And so, yep, that is a terrible introduction to DaVinci, and there is tons and tons of videos on YouTube that you can watch, and DaVinci Resolve itself has some really good tutorials on their website. If you want interested, I can have it installed on these machines for you. But if you have your own laptop or whatever, I encourage you to download it and give it a try, because a lot of studios are using this software now instead of Premiere, or in addition to Premiere. But you don't need an Adobe subscription. Yes.
Also, it's fully.
Yes.
And does it take as much as Adobe does on this?
Not at all. Not at all. It doesn't take nearly as much space as Adobe does. There is a pro version of DaVinci where you get some more effects and so forth, but they realize that the more people that use the software, the more that who will pay for it there will be. But you can still get everything output. It's not like it's not like Maya where it says this is the pretend school version and gives you this warning across the screen the whole time. And it's not like Adobe that will try to get you to subscribe and then take it all away at the end of the semester. It's just here for you to use however you see fit. Okay, yeah, so let's go make some stuff. And I'll post this on Discord for you guys to enjoy. Golf clap for our volunteer summoners, logo summoners. I'll put this up on Brightspace for you.